So today we're going to dig into the work of a researcher who, kind of by accident, stumbled upon one of the most fundamental truths about what it means to be human. This is all about the surprising and, let's be honest, often uncomfortable power of vulnerability.
All right, let's kick things off with a quote that really gets to the core of all this. See, our journey starts with a researcher who was, at first, kind of dismissed. People told her she wasn't a real scientist, she was just a storyteller. But what she found was that stories, well, they might just be the most powerful data there is.
So let me introduce you to our protagonist, Dr. Brené Brown. She's a researcher who set out on this massive quest to take the beautiful mess of human life and, organize it.
Now, what's so interesting here is the mindset she was starting with. Her professor's whole thing was, if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. Super rigid, right? And even though she was drawn to these messy human topics, her goal was basically to clean it up, organize it, and put it into a bento box. She wanted to control it, to predict it, really to hack the whole system of human connection.
So her research started with what she felt was the most basic human need there is: connection. I mean, from a biological standpoint, we are literally hardwired for it. She saw it as the entire point, the purpose and meaning of our lives. It's why we're here.
So she starts her work, asking people all about love and belonging. But this is where her neat and tidy research plan just completely hits a wall. The answers she got were not what she was expecting. Not at all.
Yeah, instead of telling her all these wonderful stories about connection, her research was just flooded with stories about the exact opposite. You ask people about love, they talk about heartbreak. You ask about belonging, they tell you about the most painful times they felt excluded. The data was pointing her straight toward disconnection.
So this unexpected twist basically forced her to figure out what was at the root of all this pain, and it led her straight to a really uncomfortable idea that pretty much unraveled everything she thought she knew.
She found that this unraveling force was shame. And she's really specific about this. It's not guilt. Guilt is feeling I did something bad. Shame is feeling I am bad. It's that deep universal fear that if people really truly see us for who we are, they'll decide we're not worthy of being loved or belonging.
So what's sitting right at the bottom of all that shame? This is the key discovery. It's vulnerability. See, the fear of being seen as unworthy only has power because, well, for connection to happen, we have to risk being seen in the first place. That's vulnerability. It's that terrifying idea that we have to let ourselves be seen, warts and all. Now, remember, she's the researcher who wants to put life in a neat little bento box. So her first reaction wasn't, oh, let me embrace this. Nope. It was to declare war on it. Her mission became, I'm going to take this thing apart, figure it out, and I'm going to beat it.
Okay, this is the turning point. What was supposed to be a one-year project ballooned into a 6-year deep dive that led to what she called a spiritual awakening, or more honestly, a full-on breakdown. But on the other side of that breakdown was a huge breakthrough.
So for 6 years, she's just living in this data, collecting thousands upon thousands of stories. And after sorting through this mountain of information, a pattern started to show itself that was so clear it was undeniable. The people she interviewed split perfectly into two groups. One group had a really strong sense of their own worthiness, and the other group was constantly struggling for it. This was it, the big question. What was the one thing that separated the people who felt a deep sense of love and belonging from the ones who didn't? The answer, it turns out, was shockingly simple. And this is the core discovery. It wasn't about their job or how much money they had or anything like that. The single thing that separated these two groups was just a belief. The folks with a strong sense of love and belonging simply believed they were worthy of it. That's it. It came from the inside. It wasn't something they were trying to earn from the outside world. She started calling this group the Wholehearted, and she found they all lived by these three principles. They had the courage to be imperfect, they had the compassion to be kind to themselves first, and because of that, they were able to build real connections based on who they actually were, not who they thought they were supposed to be. And this is absolutely crucial. This is how they thought about vulnerability. They didn't fight it or see it as a weakness. They admitted, yeah, it's not always comfortable, but it is absolutely necessary. They believed that being willing to show up and be seen with no guarantees was where connection was born. They believed that what made them vulnerable also made them beautiful.
This discovery just shattered her whole worldview, both as a researcher and as a person. I mean, she was the one who wanted to beat vulnerability with a measuring stick, right? So this forced her to ask a new question. If embracing vulnerability is the key,
Why do the rest of us fight so hard against it?
What she learned is that because we live in a world that's so uncertain, waiting for that phone call, asking someone out, starting a new thing, our go-to reaction to all that discomfort is to just try and numb it.
But here's the catch, and this is the part that changes everything about how we cope. You can't pick and choose which emotions you shut down.
When we numb the hard feelings, like fear and shame and grief, we automatically numb the good ones too. You cannot numb vulnerability without also numbing joy. You can't numb grief without numbing gratitude. And we just end up feeling miserable, searching for the very purpose and meaning we just switched off.
And this just creates this dangerous cycle, right? We feel vulnerable, so we numb it with whatever we can find. Food, shopping, doom scrolling. But that just makes us feel more disconnected and awful, which makes us feel vulnerable all over again. And on it goes.
So what's the alternative? Well, her research points to a totally different path. It's not about numbing the discomfort. It's about leaning into it. It means, number one, letting ourselves be seen, really seen, even when it's terrifying. 2, loving with our whole hearts, even when there are no guarantees. 3, actively practicing gratitude and joy, especially in those scary moments when our first instinct is to freak out. And finally, the foundation for all of it, believing that you are enough, right now, just as you are.
And that really leaves us with this final, powerful question to think about. What if we stop chasing worthiness and instead we start from a place of just knowing we have it? What could actually change in our lives if we stop trying to become enough and just started from the belief that we already are?